Hola, mi gente, and welcome to episode 4 of Frill Talk. This episode, I'll be joined with the lovely Leni. And so, Leni, please introduce yourself so the audience can get to know you better.
So I'm Leni, or Lonelita, because I really like elephants.
And
Elephants, mushrooms, and bats. My preschool class will tell you, like, it's embedded. I didn't mean to, but they know. They'll tell you. I'm preschool teacher. I'm Aries. I like long laying down on the sofa playing Animal Crossing. The beach is cool too, I guess. Like, I'm a millennial. I'm in my 33 now, which I think I like the number 33. So like,
woohoo, congrats.
It feels like a lucky number. I can't explain it. It's just a feeling.
Lucky 33. So tell me, Leni, what sort of Jfashion do you wear, and how long have you been wearing Jfashion?
So it's mainly just Lolita, usually sweet Lolita or gothic, or like that weird in between. Or I guess like experimental, because I'll put on some off the wall stuff. I'm one of the, I will put fishnets on in a heartbeat with a cord. I'm like, this needs something. Yes, fishnets. Or like, maybe not like the shoe choice you were thinking of going with, but it'll make sense. I promise. It'll be like a balance cord, and you're like, I don't know why, but it does make sense. So we can go with that. And then as for other Jfashions, I don't think I technically, I really Lolita. And then when I'm not in Lolita, I am very vintage, like 50s, 60s silhouette. So like still kind of like the shape of a lot of Lolita dresses, but just like toned down a little bit. Or I look like some weird hippie that's just living in the forest. Like
a Lolita adjacent.
like it's like the thing I've been doing this whole time was pretty much like casual Lolita, and I didn't realize it. And then like a lot of people my age, like I've realized, like, kind of strict parents, so I went to like a lot of bookstores and things like that. So like looking through magazines from all over, like that was like my first like, what is this, and like regards to Lolita kind of thing. So I've been like looking at Lolita since I was like a teenager, but I didn't start wearing it like a lot of people until 2020, because I had time and I had like a little extra money. It's like, maybe I'll just get like one dress and like a blouse. Maybe I'll just get like one cord, which now I have like a whole dedicated rack to like my just Lolita dresses. And then learning, well, I already knew how to sew, so then it was like understanding the dresses enough to make my own JSKs. And I'm like, well, maybe I just want like a cotton JSK that's got bees on it to wear on like a casual Saturday when it's too hot for like polyester or anything else to touch your body. I'm like, all right, I got to figure out how to make some stuff. So rolled into that. So like 2020, I'm like, okay, got my first dress. And then like I had the time, immediately went into like, okay, how can I make my own JSKs? And it was like, okay, I like a lot of these lady sloth dresses. Okay, we're gonna go like head first into that. Then it was like, oh, now I'm on Lace Market looking for honey cake, because that was like my dream dress. I now have it. So like there is no like dream dress right now. It's just like seeing some stuff. It's cool.
Wow. So when did you start wearing Lolita or Jfashion, I guess?
Lolita was definitely in 2020. So it was like in my house, or as outside opened a little bit, it would be like, which is most of the pictures on my Instagram. Like a lot of them are in my yard, but like the ones that were on my story for that, it was like just me in Target, like full cord on like Saturday at 11 o'clock or something like that. There's no events going on. Got the matching mask going with it and everything, like baubles, headpiece, whatever like that I made, because I like to do arts and crafts and stuff like that. So like these, yeah, I did make these earrings. I'm like, did I make these or did like my cousin? No, I made ones. And like my rings, like buying like weird little stuff and turning them into rings and stuff like that. Like 2020, I'm just in the house like weird Lolita goblin, just like making stuff, putting stuff together, like 3 outfit changes in a day to take pictures, because like I had the energy. And like what else did I have to do that day? Like schools were still closed for for a bit until like I think August 2020 is when I went back to work.
Oh, wow.
And then I was still like, oh, it's Saturday morning. Let's go pick out a JSK. And it was like, routine at that point, it's like, puts on full cord, drives to my friend's house, picks her up. We were like the meme of like the two friends with two different aesthetics, because she's like, she is a mom, but like we always joke that she dresses like one. It'd be like the sneakers, the jeans, and just like a sweater. And I'm like, you have all those other cute clothes. She's like, no, this is what I'm gonna wear today. Like, yeah, like we don't look like we're in the store together. Like if we're separated, and then we like as we come together, people are like, I don't understand. Like, is she her mom? They look the same age though. Like, I don't know, what are they sisters? No, they don't look alike. Like, they're definitely not sisters. Like, that weird dynamic of like, where is she going? Why is she dressed like that kind of thing?
Oh, wow. Like, so what would you classify the style of Lolita that you wear, or Jfashion, aside from Lolita?
I feel like when I look at like other Jfashions, even if like I don't know the name, I'm like, oh, like I definitely would wear something like that. Like, it's just like those little like tidbits of like, that's the thing that I like, but I don't know what it's called, kind of thing that happens a lot. Or like I've heard the name of it and then I'm just like, boop, boop, boop. Oh, okay. And then it just gone from my brain forever. Like, wow, I thought that thing was cool and I don't know what it's called now. So I'll remember the visual, but I won't remember the name.
So how were you first introduced to Jfashion or Lolita, whichever came first for you?
It was, I don't know which one would be first, but it'd definitely be like magazines, because I was like full like magazine when I was much, but like little, I was like, I'm gonna be an artist one day. And I had like the older cousin who was like, artists don't make money until they're dead. And I was like, I gotta pivot, I gotta rethink this. Like at 8 years old, I'm like, I gotta pivot my life choice. And so it turned into like, okay, like what could I do? What part? It was like me, like again, like at 8 or 9, like pretty young, like thinking like, okay, what parts of art do I like kind of going through like all the questions like people our age are asking ourselves now. I was doing this way too early in life. So I'm just like, well, I really like clothes. I really like fashion. I've always liked like clothing, fashion, like fabrics, textures, all the like putting an outfit together, like basically making a coordinate, putting stuff together, balancing it out, what goes, what doesn't go, experimenting. So then that wanting to be an artist turned into like, I'm going to be a fashion designer one day. I have like a bin of notebooks, not in this room because they're just mostly embarrassing, like just notebooks of like me drawing, like these are my designs. There's probably like 100 notebooks in a bin from, I don't know.
Hello, Doggy. We had a special guest, Doggy, just now.
His name is Duke. He he enjoys Doja Cat. He has a favorite soccer team when the World Cup plays. He only watches Croatia. We don't know why. He will sit on the sofa and not like, oh, he's just sitting. No, he will watch Croatia only when Croatia is playing. We thought it was just like a fluke. No, every time a Croatia game came on, he watched it. Yeah, I'll be a designer. So that meant like magazines galore. And even my mom would joke, because like you get a little bit of money for like your birthday or something, and my brothers would buy like snacks and candy and blah blah. Like my little brother and all my stepbrothers, they junk food, just basically trash. And I would be like, yes, how many magazines can I get this week? And it'd be like Teen Vogue and this one. And it would really just be for like the fashion, which meant like my mom would be like, oh, let's go like look in Borders or something like that. So it'd just be me in like the magazine section, or like there was another bookstore and I don't even remember what it's called, but it definitely had more international kind of magazines and like different stuff. So I'm pretty sure it was weird random trip to a bookstore because my mom wanted like a health book of some sort, of like some obscure book. And I was like, ooh, magazines, ooh, clothes. And then it was just like, and then like Lolita stuck out. And there's probably some other things that stuck out, but I'm just like, wow. And it's like in the back of the brain forever. And then it like, pops up in like a street snap here and there and some like weird magazine, especially Teen Vogue. I feel like people really slept on Teen Vogue back in the day. Like I haven't looked at it in a while. I can't speak on what it is right now, but I feel like 2003 Teen Vogue or something like that definitely had like stuff that I wasn't going to see living where I live in Maryland, like Western Maryland, where Aeropostale had a chokehold on the population.
So what were your first impressions of Lolita or like EGL I guess if you've gone to meetups, if since you're newer, I guess, or if you've gone to meetups. I know we talked about this.
So like the only like the closest thing to a meetup I've gone to like in person, because everything was like digital because it was like 2020, so it was like Discord meetup, like different Zoom, whatever, different ways doing that type of stuff. And then I think Techo, so not wouldn't have been last December, the December before, so we went there, and that's when like I met people in person that like I had been like talking to, like we're like all following each other on Instagram. We know our pets' names and like things about each other and stuff. And like we're finally meeting in person. It was just like kind of weird at first. Like, oh my God, like it's like I already know you, but like I've never stood next to you. And like I don't know, it's weird. Like when you stand next to me and you're like measuring like your height and like really like, oh wow, like I thought you were taller. Like, oh wow, we're like the same. Like, wow, we are like the same size. Like, wow, this is crazy. Like, oh yeah, I see what you mean about that. And then it's just like the weird like catching up of like this being behind the screen for so long and then being in person suddenly. And then I haven't really gone anywhere since. Like being a preschool teacher with these after times preschoolers, these are very different than the kids. Like the kids that I had before the panorama are very different than like the kids I have now, and it throws you off a little bit. Like, and then there's already like the generational gap kind of stuff. Like when I say like I'm gonna talk on the phone, but my godson does this, and he's 13 or something, and then like there's even another divide with like the preschoolers now, and then him to me. Yeah, it's wild.
Oh wow. So has your students, I'm guessing your students have seen you in Lolita? Tell the audience stories about that.
So they like my kids like pictures, which more so than any other like the kids.
I guess we should mention. I'm not sure if we mentioned, but you are a preschool teacher.
Yeah, I'm a preschool
yes,
teacher.
You should probably mention that.
Then I don't wear Lolita at work, but I'm a very like, not to like toot my horn, but like I am definitely like the fun, goofy teacher. But that also means like I'll let the kids, like, especially if my hair is braided, like individual braid, I'm like, go ahead and play in my hair. I'm like, they want to see like weird stuff I'm wearing, because I do, like I wore like my coffee ring to work today, so all the kids need to come to Miss Leni's coffee shop to get a cup of coffee. Or like I'll wear like Lolita accessories or like shoes to work. But I've only think I had one student so far who's seen me like in person in like full Lolita cord. Like they've seen pictures of it, and like the kids freaking love it. They think it's the greatest thing ever. They're like, wow, Miss Leni, you dress cool for school, but like this right here is next level. But the one kid who did see me, he was unfazed by it, which is even funnier. Like I had on like a different color wig. Like it wasn't just like this is not too dissimilar to like kind of the vibe of what I wore today. Like I wore like a black shirt, this coffee print cotton JSK like I made, because a lot of the cotton JSKs I end up wearing for work because they're cotton and they're usually a dark color because of the patterns I usually pick and things. So they've seen my Lolita shoes. Those are the most exciting. Like I have these chunky red shoes that if I were wearing shoes right now, I probably would have them on. They love it. They're like, oh, these shoes, like look at the bows, look at how many straps there are. And kids are weird. They will touch your feet, they'll touch your legs. If you wear a material that they feel they they'll just rub it. Like I have one kid in my class, she likes to touch my leg, like my knee specifically. And when I wear different tights, like even if they're just like plain black tights, because that's all winter is what I wear, she has to like come touch, and she's just like, cool, like all right, cool. Other kids idly, they'll just come up and they'll just be like rubbing your arm. And you're just like as they talk, like they're telling you something so like, very serious. Yeah, Miss Leni, I didn't mean to kick her. And like they're just like rubbing you or like just fidgeting. There's one girl who's not in my class, a younger one, when she has to come hug me every morning, and she has to like rub my sideburns because they do grow all the way down. And I try to shave them, but like it's more like if I feel like it that day kind of thing. She just likes to rub them. Like, so I'm touched all day, like everywhere. Like, so I generally just end up I never wear Lolita to work. In my one
makes sense.
Like, she's like, well, you should just wear it here. I said, and then I had to like kind of explain some things about Lolita. I'm like, well, I was like, so you see the, like, I think I showed her this dress. I have on Gone Baddie.
Cute.
Hat on the front, JSK. And I think I was showing her this and like the bat wings on the back and stuff. And then I think I just pulled up the website because I think it was still on the website at the time, or like the equivalent.
Yeah.
I showed her how much it cost and like where the dress came from and stuff. And she was just like, wait, but like then it turns into, you can just make something like that. I'm like, yes and no. I was like, when I make a JSK, it's usually like a weird pattern or like something that I would just like a JSK in this for like casual wear or like for like holidays. Definitely holidays. I use like Christmas. I think all the Christmas JSKs I have are like anything Lolita Christmas I think I've made, just because I'm very particular about my Christmas pattern. I don't like Santa Claus on any of my stuff. That sounds really bad, but I just don't want Santa on anything. And like some woodland animals, I'm like, I don't want a mouse on my dress. That's probably something I got from my mom, like inadvertently. I'm like, no, I don't want that. Or like certain colors. So explain that to coworkers is funny. They're just like, what? They're like, what do you do when you wear that? I'm like, whatever I want.
So since you don't go to many physical meetups, would you, I guess, consider yourself like a Lolita?
Yeah, I was like, I haven't gone. Also, where I live, it a lot of times when I do see like a meetup or something that like I could go to, it would be me driving like an hour and a half trying to find parking, and I'd have to go by myself because I don't have any Lolita friends. And when I've like tried to like find, I'm like, okay, like I'm in this particular tri-state area. Like I've seen other people comment and like they seem like they're in my area, but it seems like either they've like fizzled out or they're like, oh, like I'm gonna totally start wearing Lolita, and they kind of like get the dress, or like they lose like the excitement waiting for things, especially like in 2020, 2021, everything took forever to get to you. Like you're just like just waiting. Like at one point, I think I had like this one dress, this one blouse, and I like made a couple accessories for it. And then I don't even know if I had like shoes to wear with, like I had like shoes that I like kind of made work for what it was. And then it was just like, that was it. Like I had this one blouse that did not, like the collar was weird. It looks okay in pictures, but like if I were to ever go, like I don't wear this blouse anymore. For reference, it's just on the rack of Lolita. But it was just like like I stuck it out, I guess. Like I was just patient. Other people, like I saw, they're like, yeah, I don't wear it anymore. Or they're like, oh yeah, I'm putting everything on Lace Market. Like I'm already over it. I'm like, okay. I was like, I'll still be here. This virtual, just vibing out by myself, I guess.
So was there ever a point, I guess, before 2020 where you considered starting Lolita?
Like several different times. There's like all these like little points. Like when I was still like in high school and stuff, with like having stricter parents and things, it was kind of like the stories you hear about people being like, well, my parents weren't going to buy me that off the internet. Like I wasn't on the computer a lot at this point. Like I didn't have a lot of computer time. I also have a lot of siblings. So it wasn't like just me using the computer. It was like, you know, my mom and my stepdad, me, and then like my 4 brothers, like them trying to do that, or like me and my one brother, and then like our older stepbrother, my dad, and like my stepmom or something. So it's like, oh, I was interested in that. And then I just kind of was like, logicked my way into, well, that won't happen. And then college, I'm like, ooh, Lolita, wow. And then you do like the Lolita adjacent kind of like, you're like, oh, like I kind of like, you like dip your toe into it, because then I still sort of cared about it, like opinions and like how people perceived me and saw me. So I'm like, okay, like, and I'm also going through like a natural hair journey at this point, because where I live is predominantly white and I am not. So I severely damaged my hair all through like high school, trying to straighten it like every day. Not like, and then I moved on to like the curling iron, but it was still like pressing it and like making not my curls, but like a certain type of curls instead. And then in college, I slowly went through like this hair transformation. I was like, okay, we're just gonna go full natural again, because my mom was very like, had the foresight to be like, I'm not gonna relax her hair when she's little. Like she kept it natural, and then I demanded a relaxer at 13. It was, I don't know, that was one of those like, okay, you can learn your lesson. Here, you like, okay, we'll do it. Put the kitty perm in and see what happens. And I thought I was hot stuff. And then my hair started to break off because I had like hair down to here, and then it's just like breakage, and then I had to get it like cut. Oh no, my earring.
Oh no, your pop on.
It's almost like a transformation. Like, yeah, then I chopped off, had to get my hair chopped off.
Yeah, it was the relaxer. It was a relaxer that cursed you just now.
Dude, it did. It was like, are you talking trash? I will always talk trash about the relaxer. No, damaged my hair. Then in college, like I was like working on the hair thing, like the clothes, like I would like, you ever just lay on an outfit, you're like, oh, I'm totally gonna wear this thing, and then like you like psych yourself out of doing it. You're like, okay, but then I gotta go here, and then people are gonna see me, and then this is gonna be a thing, and I still kind of care about what other people think, and blah 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 blah, because I'm only like 20 or something like that. So it was like me trying to figure out myself, and then like getting inspiration from like Lolita and like other different like fashion, different things, and then trying to like incorporate that into other stuff, or just like, oh, I'll do that one day. It was lots of like, oh, one day I'll do that, or like looking at the price of something and being like, wow, I'm not gonna be able to do that, or oh, I gotta get a credit card, because I went through college with no credit card. Like that was like one thing I did do. So it was like, oh, like I know, I was like, whew, now I was like, got to be an adult and build my credit score. But it was that. It was like, okay, like we'll have like some inspiration. Like, oh, like I like this silhouette, which is probably why a lot of my normie clothes are definitely like 40s and 50s, or like even like cupcake shape. Like literally the dress I wore to, like I wear a petticoat, like some form of petticoat, definitely a slightly smaller one most of the time. Almost every day when I wear a skirt or dress, which that's another thing I have to explain to like my coworkers or the kids, because what a lot of people don't know, little kids will just like weird, strange little kids, but they're very innocent about it. They just don't understand, or like they'll just go under your dress thinking like, oh, like I can hide here because it's a big poofy place kind of thing. So yeah, the first few kids who like try to do that full petticoat, just smack them in the face. They're just like, what is this? And I'm like, it's my petticoat and you're not supposed to see it. Or they'll be like, you're so poofy, because like they'd see me in like jeans and a t-shirt one day, and then the next day it'd be like decent, like nothing too crazy, but like a not like my hoop skirt, but like a petty, like, wow, you're like much wider. Or like they try to hug you and they're just like, ah.
When you first started wearing Lolita, were there many people that looked like you, or like other fellow Black Lolitas when you first started?
I think
whether physical or virtual.
I feel like because I waited like 84 years to start wearing it, it feels like by that point I was like seeing more people that I'm like, oh, like you look like me, oh, like you look like we have this maybe the same curl pattern, because I feel like that also may have subconsciously, like not thinking about it, played into it, because I'm like, oh, look at like, you know, I've never cut bangs in my hair because I just won't. I just know that I'll just go buy some fake bangs. That's pretty much the conclusion. Like I'll go get a wig or something, because I'm like, I can't do it. But seeing like, oh, this is how this Lolita looks, and thinking like, okay, I guess I have to like do it just like that, was like the first thought. Then it like kind of morphed into like, I can put my own spin on it, because like YouTube was definitely like, you know, showing different people and like different voices, and not just like all the mainstream ones. Like, you know, the more niche you get and like start navigating and like directing the algorithm, if you will, like then you're starting like, oh, like, okay, I see more people who kind of look like me. Like, oh, I feel like I could be friends with that person based on like how they're styling this and what they're saying, like that kind of like. And then like somehow I psyched myself, like before 2020, somehow even as an adult, like done with college, I'm an adult now, I'm married at this point, because I think I got married at like 25. So like this point I'm like, oh, like maybe I'll do that. And then like the little tiny bit of like self-consciousness, like, oh, like what are people going to think? Or like, oh, people are going to look at me. People already look at me when I just go to the store and like what I consider my normal clothes. And this was even like, you know, like a decade ago, like at 23, I'm like, people look at me weird just because sometimes I wear like these different color tights, or like I got on, like I have a weird purse that I painted like a monster face on, or I don't know, like stuff, little things. And then you're just like, okay, I guess I won't do it. Then it's like, then I psyched myself out being like, oh, there's so many rules in Lolita. Like, oh, I don't know if I can do this at one point. And I was just like, no, I don't know if I really like Lolita. I don't know if I'll ever wear it. And then 2020 was just kind of like the year of like, fuck it. Like I turned 30. I was like, fuck it. I'll just order a dress. And like worst case, like I went on Devil Inspired, I think. So it was like worst case. I'm like, this seems to be the simplest way. I'll try to find a dress that fits me. Cause then that was a whole nother thing. Because if I had started wearing Lolita, like the first time, I was like, I should totally do this. It would have been 10 times easier for me to find a dress, because that was a different body I had at that point. That was like 20-year-old me. There goes the skater boy.
Your dog is saying you should stop.
Sometimes it does feel like he's looking at me like, Mom, why? Like, judging me. But yeah, I was like psyched myself out too many times. And then finally, like at 30 was like, for some reason, turning 30 in the panini, decided that like I was just gonna be like, whatever, like I'm just gonna do all the things. I was like, I'm going on Devil Inspired, I'm ordering this dress. And then like someone sent a link to like a good seller on like AliExpress for a pair of shoes. I'm like, okay, like this isn't like me spending too much money. I had like little disposable income because I wasn't working. Because I don't know how, like when you teach anything, like any grade, you slowly start spending your own money on things and like coming up with ideas. And like I have like a whole container to like my over here full of just like things that I've had to like buy for my classroom, and like I'm just currently not using, but can't get rid of it because I spend my own money on it, so it's mine. So I have it here. Then it's like, oh, hi Duka. Yes, you are here too. I'm sorry.
Hello.
Say hi.
Oh my God, look at him. He's so cute.
Hi. Okay, down.
I love animals.
But yeah, like 2020 was like the perfect storm of I have time, I have money, I can like go on the internet and buy whatever I want at this point. Like I had like my credit cards were established. I'm like I can do this now. And I think I told my husband, I was like, yeah, like I think I was just like, yeah, I'm gonna get this dress. And I think I ended up sending him like a lovely lore video, because he'd seen like some people's videos in the background before, but I think I was just like, here, look at this. Cause he like during the panorama, he wasn't home. He's in the military. He ended up not being home. He had to go on like missions and stuff. And then later he still got deployed at that point. Like a lot of people were like, oh, he's not going to get deployed because of, the perpendicular we're in. And I'm like, oh, yo, honey, you don't know how the military works. So he's like, yeah, he's like, if it makes you happy, go for it, was more or less his thing. Cause people will be like, you wear that and with him. And I'm like, yeah, my husband, he's very, very plain dude, self-proclaimed minimalist. He's a, slacks and a plain shirt kind of dude. Like he's cool with that. He does like some, or I guess you could consider alternative fashions, like other ones. Not
so like OG. So he might be an OG in the future.
No, I feel like I've showed him some, and he was just like, no. He would definitely. He described his outfit to me once, and I'm like, it was definitely giving like a very steampunk kind of vibe. What he described, like more alternative in like a different direction. Like he's pretty like, he'll do not do whatever, but he's open to like, if I'm like, hey, I want to dress up like this, can you please maybe wear this or something? I'm like, hey, can I paint your nails? And he's like, well, if he doesn't have a mission, he doesn't care. He's just like, okay, cool, okay, go, we can be twins, whatever. Like he's not phased. Or like when I do get dressed up like this, like the first few times I'm like, is this weird to you? Like, are you gonna go out in public? He's like, I don't care. He's like, this isn't the weirdest thing I feel like you've ever worn, because we went to high school together. We didn't date in high school or anything, but we went to high school together. So we've known each other quite some time. So he's just like, this is probably like the weirdest thing you wore. Or I think I had on like, not Lolita, but I had on like a black dress and like these big old skeleton earrings I made out of like plastic skeletons. And he's like, oh, you're dressed pretty conservatively today. And I was like, oh yeah, I guess you could say that. And then someone pointed out, it was in, I think it was like the plus size Lolita Discord, the one that I'm in. And it was like, I was like, oh, this is what I wore today. I was like, I didn't wear Lolita because it was like a ceremony thing. So I just put on this black dress and these earrings and I had like my hair up. And they were like, your husband thinks conservative for you is giant skeleton earrings. And I'm like, I didn't think about it like that. I was really just like, yeah, this is a pretty conservative outfit. Like giant skeletons that like touch my shoulders, just plain black dress, probably ballet flats because, armory, I probably gonna have to walk around or something like that. Like, oh, wow. He really is not phased. I've put like the amount of things I've like attached to my head for a picture. He's like, nice. Or he'll be like, nerd. Or he'll be like, why don't you just put this on there too? I'm like, or he tells me how people give him like compliments. They're like, your wife's so cute, or I saw that thing she was wearing and I liked it. I'm like, who are these people and why have they seen my picture? And he'll be like, oh, it's just like my coworker, or like, oh, it's just like this soldier passing through saw my lock screen or something like that. I'm like, all right, bet, cool. Okay.
So speaking of you being part of plus size discords, so what is your current thoughts of brand size inclusiveness in terms of like not just plus size or brands having plus size sizes and custom sizes, but also petite sizes? So what are your thoughts on that currently?
I feel like there's definitely like certain brands who you're just like, yes, like clearly I have like 3 or 4 lady sloth dresses at this point now. I just ordered Girly Gang because I missed it the first time. And I was like,
Did you get the JSK or the skirt?
I got the JSK and I was like, I need this. I was like, I feel like this fits me because the whole like what are they, like bittersweet? Like I wear a lot of goth and I wear a lot of sweet. And then there's like this weird intersection. Like I definitely bought this very cheap, like off-brand blouse. I got this to wear with honey cake. And I was like, oh, it'll look like really cute. Like I have like a whole plan for that. And then I was like, I'll throw like a cord on. I haven't put on a cord in a while. Like maybe I'll like, put something cute, at least from here up. And then it turned into like, what if I put this red, very countryish blouse on with like Gone Baddie or like something very not like necessarily like stereotypically cutesy, like sweet kind of thing. And I'm like, okay, where do we go from here? Because I wore my hair up for work in 2 buns because again, I'm the fun teacher and I have one kid in my class who she asked me to wear my hair up because she got mad at my wig because it was a long wig and she would get mad that the hair was in front of me and she would just be like, Miss Leni, no, like I don't know if it's like she just wants to see my face or if it's like when it hugged her she didn't like how it felt, but either way she was like, can you wear your hair up? And I'm like in 2 buns because that's my go-to. Behind this bow is just 2 buns. Like sure. So I was like, my hair's up, like what am I gonna throw on? Then this like country bats, I don't know. Like I don't know what to call it. If I were to put like actual Legwear on, I probably would have put fishnets on. I'm not even gonna lie. Fishnets would have been involved in like a pair of Hot Topic boots that like would have completed the look, but with like I don't know, like a very cutesy purse. I don't know, or the complete other direction. I do have a purse that is a bat's head, so like and it has purple and red on the ear. So I'm like, oh yeah, that'll tie to like that'll tie with this and that and that and that. And then I have to take a picture. Then I have to show my class the picture tomorrow because they want pictures of everything because half of their life is literally looking at pictures of stuff instead of experiencing certain things. Like they're now experiencing stuff and it's very adorable and it's great, but sometimes I tell them things and they look very perplexed. I'm like, yes, at one point in time you would go out and do this, and they're just kind of like, what? Or like if I play like even Disney Channel stuff, they're like, why are the kids doing this? I'm like, they don't have to wear masks, sweetie. Like like simple explanation, like, yeah, oh my gosh, they didn't wash their hands. Yes, it was a different time back then. Like they don't have hand sanitizer. You see, hand sanitizer was kind of like a cool commodity. It wasn't like a necessity a few years ago. Like it was like a cute little thing you got and clipped on your purse from like Bath and Body Works or like Five Below. Now it's like, do you have, like everyone has some. Like I have it in my apron at work. I got one in each purse at this point. I'm also using it constantly because like boogers.
So are there any you mentioned Lady Sloth, but are there any other brands that are your favorites in terms for like, I guess, for bigger people or plus size people in general? That's like, customizing.
I feel like Lady Sloth is the one I have, I guess, the most experience with also getting, because I was like, this may be this must have been like the second or like third dress that I ordered, because the order in which I ordered my first like few dresses, the way that they got to me was like completely backwards. Like the first dress I ordered was like the last dress I ended up getting. So like by the time I got that dress, I had realized that like I might not like it. It has strawberries on it. Oh my gosh, what is it called? I got it on Devil Inspired. My brain's, you
can send me a picture and I'll put it here.
Okay. Yeah. I was like, oh, what is that dress called? But I ordered that first and like patiently waiting. And then at some point I ended up seeing another dress on Devil Inspired with lemons on it. And I'm like I'm in here like looking up measurements, because like having the one like upside to like sewing is like I already kind of like had an idea of like, yeah, my measurements are this, but like if a garment is cut like this, then I knew like what I could get away with kind of. And like for the most part, I was pretty spot on in regards to like ordering Lolita specifically, because like the cuts are a lot different than like if I was going to order like a dress on Amazon or something, like looking at those measurements, or really any like just general store in America selling like normal quote unquote clothing. But Lady Sloth, I'm like, okay, cool. Like as soon as I put this dress on, I was like, oh my gosh, like excited, like, oh, like it fits. And I'm like, I'm not like tugging at it or anything, because the two dresses I got from Devil Inspired, they ended up being like, what is it, like a bit more of a baby doll cut or something. And then those like the first two I had, and I'm like, ooh, I was like, I might have to like alter the one lemon one, which I still haven't. I still might, because it's okay. I haven't put it on in a while either. So now I'm like, now I feel like I need to like go try it on just to see if I will alter it, because I'm gonna have to do it. But those dresses, I'm like, okay, now I have to be mindful of like this measurement, and this measurement. So then I started trying to order other dresses and other things. I'm trying, what's the other dress I have upstairs? Because like Honey Cake, for example, I was like, oh, dream dress. Then I'm like, well, am I even gonna fit this? And then I'm like researching that, like looking at like people. Then you start going down like the almost creeperish rabbit hole of like going through the EGL tag, looking for people wearing it, seeing if someone hashtagged it, looking to see like what people are wearing. Like, okay, you look kind of my size. Like, where did you get this dress from? Because a lot of people are talking about Meta. I don't have any Meta dresses yet. So I'm like, I see what you're doing over there. I've seen it on people. It looks like what you're doing is cool. Like, keep it up. And then I was thinking about like petite. Like, I'm like pretty average height. I'm 5'5". So I'm like, I'm pretty, like most dresses like are pretty good on me. I don't really have the issue of something being like too short. I have some dresses that like I might shorten like a little bit just because however I'm styling it, or like the things I'm wearing with it, I'm like, oh, that might look better this way. But like, okay, that's cool. Got that. Then there's like some brands where kind of goes back to like before being like, well, I'm never going to be able to look like that or wear it. So I just kind of like, it just falls off the radar. I'm like, or I can just like appreciate like, oh wow, that's like a really pretty design, and then I just like kind of keep moving. Or like when people are getting hyped about certain dresses and I'm just like, well, I know that's not gonna fit me, so y'all have fun with your blood bath. Like, because it like Honey Cake is angelic pretty, and I'm like I gotta be mindful. Like I can just fit that. I've like since I've bought it, I have lost like a little bit of weight just from I'm on my feet all day. And I just like adjusted my eating habits a little bit. So I'm like, okay, like that fits me better now. But I know that like I'm like the cap for that, for my proportions. And like I have broader shoulders, which I didn't realize that they would be considered broader, especially in like, hello, Jim. He's like, please talk. Hi.
Hello, doggy.
I know. He's like, you must only talk positively about yourself at all times.
Pretty much. That's a hype man. That's a hype man. Hype man.
But yeah, I was like, I end up just like scrolling through Lady Sloth and then like waiting to hear what other people say about other things too. Like I'm also to the point like I don't want to, that sounds bad, like waste my time if something isn't gonna fit. Or there's been a couple things I got on Devil Inspired like early on that I got like the custom sizing for, I think. And it ended up working out. And I was like, oh, thank God. Because of course, the wait time, you see like the horror stories of when they make something plus size, they don't account for like, hey, like you might need to put a couple little extra inches in the skirt for the same effect of like the poof, instead of just like making a bigger bodice and then just like slapping the same skirt on like here's like this much. No petticoat for you. Like no poof. Sorry. You thought cupcake? No. Like that's not it. Like, because that's the other thing I did, like start to notice, like I'm like researching, I'm just like, oh, like why does that look like that? Like why did they do that? Or yeah, just I don't know, the weirdness of sizing something up for quote unquote plus with some brands, just seeing it on other things put me off. I'm like, all right, if you do better later and someone's willing to give you a chance, like let me know. But I just don't have time for it. And then going back to work meant I had less time for it. I'm like I'm like Lady Sloth, I know. Then I was like everyone said Girly Gang was like fucking great. I was like, when I get the chance, I'm getting it. Cause there was a couple other things they released, like the mushroom dress.
And the Christmas cookie one too.
Yeah, I was like, ooh, but I was like, oh, I just made another Christmas one. So I was like, I can't buy a Christmas dress when I have 2 Christmas dresses that I've made. I was like, I gotta wear those first. Like I'm trying to, like now I'm like, at first I was just like, I'm getting stuff. And then I like had to bring it back and be like, okay, let me be more logical. Cause at one point I ended up with like 2 blouses and then like all these dresses at one point. So I'm like, all right, I gotta be mindful. And then I wear a lot of blouses that are just like no name, random, find them at the store. Like this one is just like weird random blouse I found online that was very inexpensive that I knew would like fit. Cause the other problem is a lot of blouses I got early on, I couldn't move. And I talk with my hands. I will bust out in a dance for like no reason. I'm that friend who's just like, oh wow, y'all hear that? Like music in the very far distance, like not meant for us at all. Like just like, y'all hear that? Like, oh, Tina Belcher twerk all the way. Like I will go full in on that. Like I have a Tina Belcher cosplay for this reason. Like let's go. So I know I have to move, and like early on I would like get blouses and things and I would look really cute in pictures, but I couldn't move like this. I can YMCA it if I need to in this blouse. And I was like, it's got the collar. Like then it was like learning what to look for and like in non-Lolita brands that I knew I could make Lolita, or like I knew I could make look at like those Target blouses. Like Target came through out of nowhere with blouses. And I was like, sir and or madam or whatever you are, like what? I'm like, you let me down with the entire junior section, because I used to get like lots of like plain t-shirts from there, whatever, like the new, I don't know, whatever they did, they cut everything way too small. But then all of a sudden I was like, but you're getting me with these blouses. I was like, they're cut nice. They have like a lot of like volume to the sleeves, like the big collars. I'm like, who were these made for? Because it feels like you made them specifically for Lolitas, like of all sizes. Like y'all really like y'all secretly saw the weird wave of like COVID Litas who like showed up and was like, I'm gonna finally wear this. And you were like, capitalize, let's go, design them, put them out there. Be like, are you not entertained? Like, let's go. Because I think I have like at least 1 or 2 blouses from Target at this point that, no, like everyone's always like, oh, that's such a cute blouse. Like Target, like Target. Got to make it like it's from Target. What? No, yes. Like, so I was like, yeah, blouse wise, I think I have 1 lady sloth blouse, and then every blouse I own is random off-brand. Some of them might have been thrifted or like some weird thing I found in like a cousin's closet or something, or like my mom's, I don't know. And then I'm a cardigan person. Like I love a good cardigan. So lots of cropped cardigans in my Lolita wardrobe. And then occasionally I will go into like my normal wardrobe and like, oh, this weird color cardigan that I have, because I have enough. I'm not too many, not to like enough cardigans for my teacher life. Throw those on the dress if I have to. I was like, I'm not above putting do you know what like a dickie is? It's like a collar without the shirt.
Oh, I just thought of the brand Dickies. That was like a first thought.
I do have those too, Dickie overalls. It's a lot going on over here, but it's like a Dickies, like essentially it's like the collar and the buttons of a shirt, and you can just like put it on under like a sweater or something. When it's hot out, I've definitely just thrown one of those on, tucked it into the dress, cropped cardigan, put a button on. No one knows I'm not wearing a blouse underneath there. Yeah, nobody knows. Nobody has to know. Or when I'm layering, because yeah, just random sweaters I find from thrift stores, they look great under JSKs. Put a Dickie underneath so I don't have to wear too many layers, because there are some dresses I'm like just at that size, like, whoa, yeah, can't wear a conventional bra with this. That's too much bulk. We're gonna bandage it up. We're gonna suck it in. We're gonna put
sports bra. Yeah.
There was one dress, like even the sports bra wasn't even, I was like, the sports bra isn't working then, or it was like cutting up so hot, like it like shifted to the point that I was like, all right, we're just gonna like bandage them up, I guess, or something, and just like we're just gonna hold it in. And I was in there and I was like, and it was funny because I think the measurements on that dress were like supposed to be bigger than like another dress I had, and I'm like, in theory, like this should have fit, but it didn't, and it's like cut weird, and like now like my boobs are smushed in this like little band of fabric, and I'm like, I don't know what to do with this, and I'm like, I guess I'll just button a cardigan over, like a cropped cardigan and a dickie, so like there's a collar. And then just, I'm like, I have an outfit in mind and I'm going to go grocery shopping. Like, I'm putting it on. Like, we're going to do it. We're going to attempt. If it goes all wrong, I was like, worst case, we just go put on a sundress. It's fine. Like, if I, like, there's definitely been times where I've gone to go put on a cord and gotten to like petticoat and like maybe like a tank top or like a sports bra or something and been like, yeah, I can't do this today, and just instead just put just like a regular dress on top, since I do wear petticoats all the time. No, we're just gonna put this on top instead. Might still wear the chunky Lolita shoes or something, like, because at that point I'm like, all right, why not?
So you mentioned being an older Lolita. So for the audience, can you define what being an older Lolita means to you?
Well, yeah, because like I'm 33, like just turned 33. So I started wearing it like at 30. And that was another thing. I do remember like a long time ago hearing about like, you know, when you turn a certain age, you can't wear this type, you can't be a sweet Lolita. Like you have to wear classic, or like even like outside of Lolita, like once you turn this age, like you gotta be mature. You gotta wear a blazer and like pants. Like I don't like pants. I guess I should also put, pants are my enemy. They never fit me right. I don't know what it is about like my particular proportions. Got to be careful talking about myself. Hope Duke doesn't hear me, but my particular proportion, pants don't work. Overalls, because they're like held up here, great. Regular pants, no. So I mostly do like, even outside of dresses and skirts. But I can even remember being like, once you hit a certain age, you can't wear certain types of dresses, or you have to wear your hair a certain way. Like I really like putting my hair in 2 buns. Like that's like my go-to. Like running late for work, 2 buns. You're like, why not 1? It's easier to put my hair in 2. It's more manageable. It's less to comb out in each section. I can just whip it up. So it was like, oh, there's like ages, and like, oh, you have to be young while you do this, or like you can only do this at this age, which is also probably part of the whole like, I'm turning 30, fuck it, I'm just gonna start wearing it. Cause why? Like I don't have to only wear this while I'm like 20. I'm like, I can be a whole decade late to this and just do it. And it's almost, I feel, even though I'm like, oh, I kind of wish I started wearing it younger, like it worked out in the end. Like the whole like having like the time, the money, being able to actually like get the things that I like this dress. Oh my gosh, like one God Baddie, I don't know, it's just my go-to. Like it's 100% my go-to. If someone's like, you have 20 minutes to put a cord on, it's like, oh, Gone Baddie. Like I have a box of bat stuff, like specifically, like mainly goes with this dress. I wear it with other things, but like bat clips, stuff like that. It's just, I don't know, it's almost more fun being older wearing Lolita. And I have like wisdom in regards to like, I get other little areas and things like that, but also just knowing myself more. So like when I am putting on like a cord, like these are like, this is me, like this is authentically Leni, Lonelita, whatever you know me as. I got a lot of nicknames, but yeah, like this is like, no, like this is really just me vibing out, having a good time. And I know people can tell I'm having a good time. I know I don't necessarily look my age either, which that throws people off even more. But like out in public where I live, people give less of a fuck about how I look in Lolita than I thought they would. But there's still like some people who'll come up and like say stuff, and then it's very funny when somehow they figure out that like I'm not as young as they thought I was through like a weird conversation. Like they say something and somehow I'm like, oh yeah, like, oh yeah, I remember that. And they'll be like, oh, you're too young to remember that. I'm like, sir, I don't know how to tell you this, but like I remember like whatever, insert whatever thing here to like let you know, like, oh no, I was there. Like they're like, oh, you can't remember. Why my brain immediately went to like every tragic thing millennials had to deal with instead of anything happy. I was like, no, we're not going down that road. My brain's like, do you remember 9/11? I'm like, I do remember that. And I'm like, why is every benchmark for a millennial like something very tragic? It's never like, do you remember the 1996 Olympics in Atlanta, Georgia? Like, no, it's never that. It's always like something really bad. But like, yeah, when people figure out how old I am, it throws them off. And then like they don't know what to do with that information for a second. And then they're just like, huh, and like, oh, like, and you're not in a play or anything. Nope, this is just how I felt like dressing today. To go buy Smith apples. I mean, I'm like,
So is there anything you wish you knew about Lolita? Or so let's say if you could tell your younger self like anything about Lolita, what do you wish that you could tell them?
oh, younger me, I would probably tell her, like, first of all, look, like, it's not as complicated as your brain is making it, would probably be like the first thing. And I'd be like, that applies to many things. So like, chill the fuck out. And secondly, hey, eventually you'll get there. Even if like I don't even know if I would tell my younger self to like start. I think I would just be like, be patient, just wait. It's 10 times better it's 10 times better being able to pick, like, buy my Lolita in my own leisure time, in my own place, and like not having like my mom or like this brother or like this other brother trying to roast me, like, and not even like, oh, ill, you're wearing like this weird, like, no, like, roast me like, oh, and you think them shoes match that cord, like, that's the type of siblings I have. They're very supportive, but like they're gonna tell me like about myself too, like if I step out in something that is subpar in their opinion, they will let me know, like, oh, you thought that headpiece was a good choice, wow. Or like, you didn't think we wouldn't notice, like, yeah, I have those type of siblings. So I'd probably be like, just wait. I'd be like, just wait on it. Like, you'll have your own space. You'll have your own time. Like, it'll work out. I'd probably tell myself, like, be more patient, even though my mother constantly tells me I'm very patient. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, but okay, cool. I'm like, I don't know if I'm that patient. I was like, you all keep saying I am, but I'd probably tell myself to be more patient. Like, hey, you don't have to like you don't have to rush getting things. So I think that is the one like thing I did. Like, I was like, oh, I need blouses, like trying to hurry up and get all these blouses. And then there's like a bunch of random shirts that I just got rid of. Cause I'm like, why did I buy this? Like, this is so stupid. What fantasy world was I living in where I thought like this weird lacy thing was going to make sense? Like, I need to pay attention. Like, I was just ordering stuff at one point. I'm like, gotta be patient, gotta pay attention, slow down. Eventually, like you'll find the things, they will come to you. Tell myself to chill out. I would also tell my younger self, hey, you'll have a dog one day. Just let that sink in, because my entire family was like very shocked by that information when I got a dog, and a big dog at that, because I really wasn't banging with dogs like that when I was younger. It just wasn't a weird thing engraved. And I'd be like, hey, you're gonna have a dog one day. Be patient, and one day you'll get to wear whatever you want whenever you want, and you won't care, and people will like it. That's the other thing. It's like it brightens people's day when you wear like something like you really like, and like you're showing the confidence as you wear the thing like in public, and just doing everyday stuff, like in Michael's buying some pens for your bullet journal or something, and like a girl and her mom are just like, oh, we like your outfit, or like some younger person sees you and you become like that beacon of like, wow, I can do that too. Yes, bitch, you can totally do this. If I can do it, you can definitely do it. So
So for other Lolitas who may be considered older and afraid maybe to start Lolita, let's say like in your same situation, what would you tell them as words of encouragement and inspiration?
I would literally turn into Shia LaBeouf. I'd be like, just do it. And then I would be like, but on a serious note, like, honestly, just do it. Even if it's just like I did, like, go on Devil Inspired, like start low risk if you have to, like Devil Inspired. Yeah, you don't have to worry about like messaging people and doing all the things. So I know that can become intimidating, like looking for a shopping service and then going on Taobao and like doing all these different things. Like, hey, go look on like a Devil Inspired. Go find one dress you really, really like, and only get it if you think you're really gonna like it. I was like, you might not, but like when you look at that picture, like it's like, does this spark joy? Like kind of Marie Kondo yourself real quick and be like, hey, does this spark some joy? Get it, put on. You don't have to go anywhere in it. Like, even if like the first blouse you put on is like some weird peasant blouse that someone might wear to Ren Fair, because like I definitely have a cotton one of those I wear in the summer, because these past summers I take a little break from Lolita. I'm not even gonna lie. It's like, it's very obvious when I'm like, all right, y'all not gonna see me in Lolita again until the fall. Like there's always one picture of me with no socks on in my yard, like trying to look happy, and it's like 97 degrees. Like, okay, we're done. I would also be like, hey, the rule as they tell artists, you learn the rules so you can break them properly. Like, there's nothing wrong with, hey, you can't wear Lolita shoes. Hey, you don't have to. Go do what works best for you. And there's always like a workaround. Like, if you have to, go bedazzle some orthopedic sneakers. Like, if that's what goes with your fit, do it. I mean, I definitely got a pair of like weird Mary Jane shoes, painted them, made shoe clips, and it worked. Like, they look nice. It worked until I could get my hands on like a better pair of shoes. Or also take my advice with a grain of salt at that too. Like, hey, like, just leave it there as like a guide, but you don't even have to do this. You can go your own path. Like, just find something you like, try it out, even if it's just you sitting in your house with your dog and just wearing it, oh, hi Duka. I mean, like, yeah, I thought more people would stare at me when I wear like Lolita. I feel like more people have stared at me wearing like normal stuff, like a dress I've made, and like wearing like a gray colored wig instead of like maybe a dark, because my hair is, this is my natural hair color. It's very dark. It's not black though. It's just before black, kind of like my eyes. Or, well, my students also think my eyes are black. I asked them what color my eyes were the other day, and they were like, black. And I was like, wow, okay. They're brown. When we go outside, I'll have to show you in the sun. But okay. Yeah, I was like, yeah, I think I covered. Yeah, found Jfashion in a magazine of all places. Like some weird anime opening. Like, I was just like in the magazine, like, wow.
Do you remember what magazine it was?
No, because I probably was just like in the board, like, yeah, it was Borders, like in Borders, just like in the magazine section, just like picking them up and just being like, wow, like trying to like look at as many as I can before we left, because I knew if I didn't have like money for it, and like certain magazines, my mom would be like, yeah, I'm not buying you that. Like, sorry, kid, not doing it right now. Not like for any like malice reason or anything, just like, you don't need that right now. Like, we need to go buy the stuff we need right now. Like, parents are pretty good about teaching me and my siblings, like, you got a budget, you got to be mindful of this, that, and the third, and stuff like that. So, like, I got stuff, but I didn't always get like everything I wanted. Like, yeah, my dad his nickname for me is Princess, but let's be real here. Like, he said no. Like, it wasn't like everything was. He did say no. So, which is probably also why I will tell myself no, except when I bought the Girly Gang JSK, because I was supposed to be saving money, and I was like limited release or whatever. There was like, it's not going to be that. I'm like,
which colorway did you get?
I think I got black. If I remember, I was very excited. I was like, I'm going to get it right now. Okay, cool. And then I was like, do I have anything that matches it? And I was like, of course you have stuff that matches it. You got the black colorway. That's my go-to. Is like, oh, I really like this print. Black. I was like, what? Oh, there's a couple dresses. That's like, what's the darkest colorway? That's the one I probably got. Black. There's a couple. No, I did get my lovely macarons, and I got like the tan one of all the colors. And then I thought I was like gonna be able to cord it better than like what I've done the couple times. And I was like, all right, I messed up somewhere along the line. Like, hey, Lolitas, remember, you need to make sure you have a blouse to wear with these dresses you buy. Don't get like romanticized into just buying like this dress you really, really like, and then being like, it matches nothing. It's a different color than everything else I own. And now I have to rebuild part of my wardrobe just to wear this one dress. Because that's kind of what happened with my lovely macarons. Because I have my spooky macarons, and that, I mean, half of the accessories that either came with this dress or I made to go with this dress can kind of go with that one, because there is like a bat macaron on it too.
Oh.
So I'm like, most of my stuff is like, oh, like this carries over. And then like my cookie ring, I just work that into everything, because my other Instagram, that's just like lots of pictures of my dog and like what I wear to work. Like it's like my, I guess you call it like my personal Instagram. It's just like everyday stuff. It's Make Me Cookies 90 is my username, because I used to bake cookies from scratch as a hobby. I don't have a kitchen now, so I don't do it anymore. But random hobby I had, and instead of pursuing things I like, other things I liked, like Lolita or playing instruments. That's another, like, two things I wish I had started earlier: playing instruments and like wearing the various fashions and things I like.
Well, Leni, it was very lovely speaking with you. Is there anything you want to shout out or talk about real quick as we're ending the episode?
Well, I post all my outfits on my Instagram. That's Lonelita. It's not, well, it's sort of spelled the way it sounds. My first name is Linnell, so it's just Linnell Elephant, Lonelita.
Which I'll have in the description and also so.
So that's where I post any like Lolita outfit things I make end up on there, or like art if I paint stuff, because that's what I got my degree in, is painting, drawing, and printmaking. I have a Bachelor of Science in art and design, which it's like just out of frame. It is hanging on the wall because I feel like if I paid that much money for it, it's got to be on the wall where I can see it every day. Still paying that bad boy off. Well, I mean, technically still paying it off. Everything's frozen. like I can like still put the money aside. Lolita's got a budget. That's another big thing. Like, it doesn't matter your age, doesn't matter where you start. You've been in Lolita for a while. Do you have a budget? Nope. You should get on that. Because it'll keep you from getting in trouble. It'll keep you from buying things you don't need as well. Because if you're like, ooh, I was saving up for this release that I know is going to happen, like you won't go just impulse buy like that weird dress that you're never going to wear. Because that's definitely stopped me from buying a couple things. I'm like, oh, glad I didn't buy that, because I probably wouldn't have liked it and I would never wear it. Like, okay, he's laying down. I was like, what are you doing over here?
Well, Leni, thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming on Frill Talk. So I'll be having Leni's information and Instagram in the description if you want to go follow her. She has such a lot of cute cosplays too, not just her coordinates.
I'm not gonna lie, I forget that I've cosplayed because it's been so long. I haven't had time to do it.
My favorite one is the one with the mushroom hat, which I'll put there. It's my favorite one.
I think I hung it upstairs because like I was gonna hang it down here, but they're weird little house, lots of windows, no wall space, so it's upstairs. It's upstairs on the wall somewhere. Mushroom things.
And see, she has a little mushroom hat or little mushroom hat cup, so it's really cute.
All my cups are mushrooms, just like
all the cups. Well, thank you again, Leni, for joining on Frill Talk, and I hope everyone enjoyed your stories and everything. So if you like this episode, please feel free to like and subscribe, and see you the next one. Bye bye.